Hey, good morning. This is Joe from Citrus County Porch Life, bringing you a daily word for men for February 26, 2025, Wednesday. And the word for today is studious. Continuing what you have learned and have become convinced of, because you know those from whom you learned it, and how from infancy you have known the Holy Scriptures, which are able to make you wise for salvation through faith in Jesus Christ. And that is 2 Timothy 3:14-15, the NIV. The Bible is full of condemnation for those who are focused on learning. It promotes wisdom beyond years, security, understanding, preparedness. When you consider men of genius and read about their lives, a constant for them was the practice of learning. To that point, a philosopher and scientist said that the more he learns, the more he realizes how much he does not know. It is easy in our entertainment first world to become enraptured in the latest TV series, movies, sports, social events, our social media stream. We look to fill ourselves up with intrigue, partly because we have lost the art of scholarly intellect, but also because we have lost our hunger for God. For some of us, entertainment has become our God, the God who intended for our minds to be engaged in the reflective study of His character desires that we pursue Him. He has a great deal of joy, adoration, and amazement to put in our hearts so we may know Him, glorify Him, and enjoy Him. And what intrigues you about God? Name a characteristic and study it in His Word. And in this quote of the letter to Timothy, he talked about, this is actually like a Jewish synagogue out, separate from the temple, but out in the countryside, where the men gather daily to pray and read the Word of God and study it. A modern day example of this would be the Hasidic Jews who dedicate themselves to the study of the Torah and do it all day long. They study at the shul. They have daily worship. So this is what Paul was talking about. And they all gather around one rabbi who they call their Rebbe. And probably the most famous of them was Rebbe Schneesen of the Chabad movement. And so this is kind of what Paul is talking about. You constantly study, and they did. They studied the scriptures. And for the Christian world, there aren't too many people that do that to that extent. Spend 8 hours a day studying it, unless you're a student. And so as it says, we have other gods we care about. TV, movies. Television has become a wasteland, in my humble opinion. I enjoy the old shows, well written. We didn't have Naked and Afraid there. All these other so-called reality shows that are so fake makes you think of the current political era, and they're just not even worth 1 minute at a time watching them. I'd rather read and study and do other things or volunteer, or just so I'm not watching television all day. And it's even worse if you're retired, because you can get in the mindset of just sitting around and doing nothing and watching game shows on TV and news and housewives of whatever city you're familiar with. And to me, it's a complete waste of time. And the question is, what intrigues you about God? Name a characteristic and study in His Word. And study it in His Word. And it's kind of a double characteristic. But the transcendence of God and the immanence of God intrigues me. How He exists outside of the universe and yet existed inside it. And because I've studied math, and I did make this connection when I was studying it. It had a spiritual basis for me. Transcendent numbers like pi, which everybody thinks is like 3.14, but has no ending. It goes on forever, never repeats. But no one has ever pinned it down to a particular number, and that's like God. We cannot understand Him, the transcendent God, at all. They're just too much for a human mind to really be able to understand anything that's transcendent. And yet He made Himself so available, so imminent to us, that He came down to earth and suffered and died. So these are the ideas about God that intrigue me. Yeah. He can be right there when I pray at night, and yet He's outside this. He is something so doesn't exist in time. For Him, it's everything all at once. That was the name of a movie, but it could be the name of a movie about God. So that's my feeling on this. That's what really intrigues me, and I try to pick up them as I go through my daily Bible reading. So, God bless you all. Have a safe and holy Wednesday, and we will talk to you tomorrow.